very nice. So, Delilah, that was amazing.
Good.
Who was that? Who was the handsome gentleman that was playing the drums for you?
It's my boyfriend.
Oh,
Erik.
Erik.
Mm-hmm.
Erik's a looker. Do you have to have sexy accompaniment in order to
Absolutely.
do? Okay, that's good. First tip from Delilah: sexy accompaniment.
It helps.
So you really are a world-renowned,
I am.
not just a belly dancer, but a dancer. Period. That has done a lot of
Performance artist, yeah.
amazing work all over the place. Can we start off though by how did you start? Where did the world of belly dance first make its way into your life?
Dane, it's what I've always wanted to do ever since I can remember. It's like an edict. You know, you're going to be a belly dancer. It's hard to explain, but I mean, really tiny. I told my mother I was going to be a belly dancer, and she said, "Yeah, sure, you betcha."
Were they in Ballard?
They were Norwegian.
Oh,
It just was there, and I don't know if it's it must have been Cecil B. DeMille movies, big biblical epics, and I Dream of Jeannie. What can I say?
Yeah. I was this close to being a belly dancer because I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would look good in the outfit.
Yeah.
Frankly. But alas,
Definitely worth taking a picture of.
Yeah, I couldn't shut up long enough to actually be a belly dancer, so instead I'm a talk show host. But you in fact don't shut up as a belly dancer. You're very active in the community.
Right.
Can you tell us about some of the events that you've helped to organize for the belly dance community?
Well, I've been doing this a long time, and I started in San Diego, actually, in Los Angeles area, and then I came up here and got married, raised a couple of kids, and but I teach all over the world. I have a video series, and so that people would see me on video and dance with me in their living room in every city in America, and then it blossomed out to different countries, and it's been really pretty fascinating. I feel like I have my finger on the pulse of what women are really thinking about, that our media on the average everyday media has no clue what women are about.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah. What you mentioned your family is what's your family think of all the belly dance work that you've done? Is it a big part of their lives,
Oh,
or
yeah.
are they into totally different stuff? Or
Yeah, I married a musician, and he was talented in video arts, and so we put up our company to make videos and produce shows and write music, and I mean it was just really an artist's household. And my kids grew up in that, and of course wanted nothing to do with belly dancing until they got to be like 18, 19. All of a sudden Laura decided, wait a minute. Now when she left and went to Evergreen, went to college, she turned around and went, wait a minute, that's kind of cool. And she turned completely around and got interested in it, and so that was kind of cool. We share a really great relationship. My other daughter is going to nursing school, and she appears. Every once in a while she models for my website and stuff, but she's a connoisseur of belly dancing, but she doesn't dance.
yeah, well, it's hard when something is such an active part of the family to not be someone who appreciates it, at least on some level.
Oh, there's so many levels. Yeah, all the musicians
at the very least,
around
you'll
the
know
house.
bad belly dancing when you see it and not be able to keep from
They
scowling.
They know the difference. Yeah.
So I'm going to give you like a weird little confession, and hopefully the people that I'm talking about are not watching the show right now. But we've had, I was once asked in a letter on the show, one show that I regretted, if there was any show that I regretted doing, and it was a show on belly dancing, because when the guests that I had, they were very talented performers, they spent much of their time sort of desexifying belly dancing. There was I got the same sense sometimes off of nudists that have had to work so hard to get people to see it as something other than anything nudity being related to sex or belly dance related to sex, that there was that there was almost like an admonishment or denial of there being anything sexy about it. What do you think about that? What do you think about is belly dancing in and of itself a sexy thing? Is it is that not true? Is it not really? Where would you stand on that if somebody says, well, isn't that a sexy thing? Like, why would you do that for kids or something?
An endemic problem that women face every day of their lives of this good girl, bad girl thing. And it totally controls their every move. And so if I can back up and tell you a little history of belly dancing.
Please do.
That will involve your first guest, actually,
Okay.
with the burlesque. When I first started belly dancing 30 years ago, plus, The teachers that were teaching belly dancing were burlesque stars that wanted to be legitimate, and they became belly dancers.
Whatever legit means.
Well, they looked at belly dancing. They said, "Oh, it can be like hula and salsa, or it's a cultural enrichment." And so they had this shingle they could hold up and say, "I'm a Middle East dancer. I have a cultural shingle to hide behind or legitimize myself." And they worked really hard with that for many years. My teacher was a burlesque dancer. Most of the teachers in the area were, and they hid the fact, and their students hid it too. So there was like a huge net that women were casting on in the whole community about, this whole taboo of being burlesque dancers. 30 years have passed, a lot of changes, and we're much healthier now with our attitudes about the body and sexuality. And so now it's turning completely around, where burlesque is getting a foothold, and it looks just like the early days of belly dancing. I got to tell you, when I've gone to some of these burlesque contests, and all their girlfriends come to support them. I mean, it looks just like belly dance world, but belly dance world is supported by women, not men. Men could care less about belly dancing because it's really about women's self-expression, and it's very powerful. It's not, I'm going to throw myself at you around a pole and dance in your face. It's I'm going to be this character, and I'm going to make this.
Not that there's anything wrong with dancing on people's faces.
It's just
I just want to cast my stone of support.
No, it's the environment that always classifies everything. You can take anything and exploit it.
Yeah, it's one of the things when people have asked me about like where I stand on pornography and a bunch of other things. I said there's nothing in this world that's wonderful that somebody can't turn into something nasty, and so just because you came across something that you think of as being nasty doesn't mean it doesn't have some other more pure form that you could get to. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about that concept of whether or not there's a place for men in belly dancing.
Oh, a place for men.
And also
I want to give you this too before I forget.
Is this for me?
Yeah, this is my uterus and ovaries logo.
That's good because I need some.
Power belly logo. Yeah.
I should get
wear that with pride. That's where life comes from.
I'm gonna go attach this to my underwear during our break. So we're going to. I'll have my own set. So we'll come back and we'll talk more about that. And boys and girls, we'll just be back in 2 more minutes with a little more Sex Life Live. Alrighty, boys and girls, welcome back to Sex Life Live. I'm here with the very lovely and amazing belly dance and performance artist Delilah, who's been telling us about her experience with burlesque and burlesque. I'm sorry, we were talking about the history of belly dance and how it relates, at least recently, to sort of burlesque origins. Where does belly dance actually come from?
Everybody always asks that question. And what they're looking for really is a classification like, can we put it in a box? Can we say it comes from Egypt or Morocco or Turkey or, we want to classify it.
And it's one of those things you just can't.
Oh, no. I think people are looking in the wrong direction. Belly dancing is about women. Thank you. And that crosses all the borders.
As women do.
Because it's a belly dance.
I'm following. I'm paying attention.
What's special about your belly is birth. And it's the creative archetype for us all. We are all involved in that process. That's why I gave you this little logo.
Which now is resting.
Yes.
In a place of safety. Because I don't want to accidentally graze my ovaries. I think that would hurt. So they're safe. I'll protect them.
Well, I got to tell you a quick little story. This logo really upset a lot of men.
Why?
It wasn't in seeing it as much as hearing about it. I sent an email to a bunch of drummers and said, well, thank you, Christine, for making the beautiful uterus and ovaries banner we're going to carry in the Fremont Parade. And I got this email back from these drummers that said, we're not going to drum for no uterus and ovaries. I said, what? You haven't even seen
why
it.
You do everything else for them.
It was like you could carry a heart and wings down the street. Oh, that's a gushy organ. No. Why would that be so different? But that's all cool. A uterus and ovaries, where we all come from, which should be something we see more in our visual field every day. All of a sudden, it was really interesting. I knew it had a lot of power. when that happened. And it still happens all the time. But you know where I got this logo is off a man's drum.
Oh, no.
I love it. A man showed it to me and said, Delilah, this looks like your uterus and ovaries. I said, cool. So that's
He'd seen them before, and he just assumed that.
He saw my banner.
So, what is? I think that a lot of men are interested in belly dance, if not.
Not a lot.
You have some.
Good.
I know there's a lot of people
I
that
wish
really
more.
enjoy it, and I think sometimes when we talk about that weirdness, where people feel uncomfortable with belly dance, or where they're trying to make it one thing because they're afraid it could be something else. Part of it, I think, has to do with if something seems to be something that if an art, for example, a performance art seems to be something that women mostly do, and that there seems to be a large male audience for, which belly dancing I think is interesting because you have just as big, if not a larger, female audience. But there's still a lot of men that have no interest in being belly dancers that just think it's really hot and they really like to watch it. And I think that sometimes creates a climate where someone wants to throw up a wall to say, well, we don't want anything to do with them. What do you think the place is for men?
Women love men and to appreciate them, to come and support them. They love that. It's just not really, women are the ones that have built the whole culture. And there's a few men that have helped, but they're not the majority. It's a grounds level. The whole industry of belly dancing is shaped very differently from other commercial venues. The whole way, they have a belly dance school, or it's in somebody's back room, and they have concerts in banquet facilities, and it's all pretty low level, where they feel that they can cultivate it themselves. The minute it goes commercial, it gets in the hands of men and it's exploited, and then women go, hey, we have to all be skinny, we have to be 20, and no, belly dancing is for women of all ages, shapes, and sizes, of all nationalities. Women love it everywhere, and they do not want to stoop to those confines that our media, male-dominated, good old boy network, has set for us. Women want to be independent, and this is a dance of liberation. Come on, cheer for that. That's good.
That's liberation.
Yeah, it's the best thing a woman can do for herself.
So, I'm gonna ask.
It's not dependent on a partner, a dance. That's in itself a liberation.
It's somewhat unique in that regard. There are
Yeah.
many dances where you have to have a partner, regardless
Yeah.
of the gender, and this is something that I've seen people do as sort of passionately and sort of full-heartedly as a solo performer, but also in huge groups doing it together. What kind of experience is that to share something like belly dancing with like a huge number of people, because you've been involved in like giant parades full of performers.
That's a different thing. The parade is really a different thing. But there's another, in the last 30 years in belly dancing, a lot of different styles have evolved, and we call one cabaret style, and we call Egyptian style, or tribal style, or gypsy style, or Gothic style. There's all these styles because we're in America. Oh, the most important thing to understand about belly dancing and burlesque and all different kinds of things that deal with the body is that you have to come to the plate with a certain comfortable feeling in yourself about the body to even understand body art, to understand dance. It's called the Cinderella of the art world, because you can't, a lot of people are so, their barriers with their puritanical upbringing, they can't even understand ballet or modern dance or any of that. And I'm quoting actually an interview I heard by a modern dance ballet critic. It's very difficult to understand dance, and we are just beginning, because now we have more freedom in our body. You have to have freedom to cultivate a body art. And we can fart on television. We have a lot more comfortable.
You don't have to, though, if you don't want to. Just want to clarify, it's not required.
30 years ago, you couldn't do any of that. Oops.
Oh.
It's okay. Express yourself.
It's an uncharacteristic, categorical humor moment from Bradford.
Right.
You couldn't do that. And women were afraid of the way they smelled. They couldn't smell themselves. They couldn't smell each other. It was like you couldn't even talk about that. That wasn't that long ago.
I think we talk a lot about a patriarchal society in which we live, and I think that there sometimes can be hostility whenever you see people that have been oppressed regaining their power. It makes people nervous. People get upset. It upsets people. Have you seen that as belly dancing gives people an opportunity to reclaim some personal power that was always there, but sort of but people are being discouraged from taking charge of it? Have you seen any hostility, or is it just a force that can't be denied, and so there's really nothing that anybody can do about it?
It's hard not to be a little hostile when you're trying to stand up straight and you've been bent over for so long.
Yeah.
It just, the whole action of standing up seems a little hostile to other folks, probably.
So what kinds of reactions have you gotten? Has it presented any challenges in sharing the work? Have you found yourself in a situation where you could share it with like a group of people? And I know that some of the performers I know get censored. They'll go to like a festival, community festival, and somebody's trying to say, well, can you not do this or can you not do that? Do you get much of that in your belly dancing world?
Yeah. Oh, not in my belly dance world as much as if I was to go out and in the Middle Eastern world, they might not want the visionary tact, the creative, really, where I really stand as a performance art and want to add other things to it. No, it should be our culture. This is not official Arabic dance, that maybe there'd be a little that. But usually, I've danced all over the world and they love me anyway. So, and I do what I always do. But sometimes people say, oh, she's not a real belly dancer. Yeah, right.
So you're very talented.
But I don't really,
you're as
what you're asking is so complicated because there's so many factions. But, people are people everywhere. One thing that the belly dance and pregnancy thing was a monumental change in the world.
Tell me about that.
Well, I danced while I was pregnant, and danced for a lot of women's groups and concert theaters, and it really freaked a lot of people out, especially men at a certain age group. Younger men were cool with it. Women were in tears, going, why didn't I do this while I was pregnant? I would have enjoyed my pregnancy. Instead, I felt like locking myself in the closet. I felt fat. I felt horrible. You're walking around masquerading as Isis, the Great Mother. And I said, yeah, I am. Wow. It was a revelation. And then it changed my life. It changed everything about the way I think about all those factions and the way people put each other down. They're just not visionary enough. They can't they need openness.
So
they need to experience a few things.
You're somebody who's very, very good at what you do, and you've been doing it for as long as you can remember. And I think sometimes when people feel that they've discovered something late in the game, there is a sort of a self-imposed belief that maybe it's too late, and they know it's not too late. They know they can take classes and whatever. But some people, if you try and take a ballet class beyond a certain age, they might just laugh at you.
I would laugh too.
That's like, well, why would you even do that? Like, when are you going to actually perform?
Point?
So. Is belly dance
good.
something like that, or is belly dance
That's
different
good.
in that way?
You said it, perform. Dance isn't all about performance. In ancient times, people would dance. It was like eating bread and drinking water. It was what you did to express yourself. It was the way you talked. In fact, I think belly dance is the wrong word. I think it's belly language. I think it's a body language, and there's way more principles to it than the word dance really allows us, because we come from this ballet background and we have that very set in our mind. It sets our politics up. It sets so many things in action. This idea of choreography and the bar and the discipline and the kind of body shape is totally destructive to women. Totally. There's nothing. It takes up so much money in our culture. And we salute ballet, and it's absolutely devastating to most women. I get these women in my classes that thought they could never dance because they were thrown out of ballet class at 4 years old or some stupid thing like that. They felt like they were too fat, that how could they even be sexual with that kind of idea going on in their head? That's the kind of damage that dance form does. Belly dancing says all ages, all shapes, all sizes. It's about the culture. It's about the costume. It's about the fantasy. It's about the music. All kinds of music have developed out of this. It's about freedom and liberation for women.
So in addition to belly dancing being something that is, while simultaneously sort of a timeless thing that has a rich history, but also it's kind of new in what it's doing now, it being sort of not being used in some of the ways that it was used, creating a new opportunity.
Right.
You're at the same time trying to change the way that people can access it. I know that we mentioned before that you have instructional DVDs that you have. You've also developed a weight system, like basically a way to get better. What and that's called
Power belly.
Power belly.
Yeah.
Tell little
belly button here.
So
That's a power belly button.
tell me about what that is and how like where
Well,
the idea came from and how belly dancers use
When
it.
I first started belly dancing, I used weights to get stronger, and I actually got some idea from a sporting goods store. But I started using it, and I would tell people about it, but they didn't have the weights available to them, so they never really gave it a try. And then I mentioned it on one of my DVDs, and the next thing I know, I have all this mail coming at me and said, "Where do we get the weight belts?" So I developed them, and I started marketing them, and then a whole process started happening. I started holding classes, and I started seeing the results in other women and what was going on, and I'm going, this is crazy. This is not just weights, but it's revealing to women that they aren't weak, that they actually hold an incredible amount of power. We're just upside down. Our power resides in our lower body, while men's power is in their upper body. We're not weak. We're very strong. We have huge amounts of powerful resources in our hips, and it's proven by this whole thing. So not only did it become a way to improve your belly dance and your stamina and build bone mass and learn faster, because you would learn all the moves a lot faster using the weights, and you take them off and your hips are like greased lightning. But it was also telling
I'm gonna have to get two of those,
people,
actually.
women, that they
One
were
for me and my
powerful.
partner.
So it's become a philosophy as much as anything else. And it just keeps going. We keep discovering new things about it. And women like to feel powerful and strong. And the whole idea of, well, we're the weaker sex. What a misnomer just to repeat that. That's bad lip service. I shouldn't have even said it because it's not true. And where I really learned it was somewhere, I don't know, midlife. I took a women's self-defense group, and they said, and most women don't know this, but they said, if you were attacked by a male, your best bet is to throw yourself on the floor and start kicking. Now, how many women would think of that? You would have no upper body strength. If a man tried to attack you, you would be overwhelmed in a second. But if you threw yourself on the floor, your legs are so much stronger, he'd probably give up. And women have saved their lives that way. Well, that was revealing in taking that class and having that told to me. And then when the Power Belly system, and it's a great way to, the class is actually very cool because we use live music. Erik Brown plays bass and all sorts of percussion and gongs and all this wonderful
it's not
stuff.
like going to an aerobics
It's a
class
trance dance.
where
It's so cool, and you're so sweaty, and you love it, and it's so sexy. It's really done with a way of I lead it with a kind of a trance narrative, and asking women to get into their body and move their flesh and shake that stuff, and it's very sexy,
That sounds
and
awesome.
it is very addictive.
So
We love
we're out of time, and I know we've just barely scratched the surface.
You have to bring me back.
Of all, I will have to for sure, and we need to try out those weights. I'm all about trying out the weights.
Yeah, well, you didn't get to flip your coin.
Yeah, we'll have to do that.
Yeah.
We'll put it on like a special features DVD.
Yeah.
We're gonna try it next time we have Delilah on. We're gonna try and teach Dane some special tricks
Yeah,
Sweet.
from the belly
Somebody
dancing
can actually
world.
teach Dane a trick.
some
Yeah.
belly rolls.
More than just the one I know. But I do want to, since we just kind of scratched the tip
Yeah.
of the iceberg. How else can people get into contact with you about classes and DVDs?
My website,
and ways?
visionarydance.com.
Visionarydance.com.
Or just Google Delilah in Seattle. You'll find me in a minute. That's
Excellent.
top PR.
Well, Delilah, thank you so much for being
Thank
on
you,
the show. I really
Dane.
appreciate
It's
it.
a
Ladies and gentlemen,
Pleasure.
Delilah.
Absolutely a pleasure.
Well, boys and girls, I'm afraid that's all the time we have for today. And besides that, I have a new set of ovaries and a womb, and I intend to use it. But I want you to tune in to Sex Life Live every single week. You can check out our website, www.sexlifelive.org. That's also a great place to check out our podcast. You can find that right on the website as well. If you have an idea for a topic you'd like us to cover, just send that to ideas@sexlifelive.org. I want y'all to take care and have fun. In the meantime, this is Dane Ballard asking you, how's your sex life?